Fit not fat, to quote our defense secretary, Pete Hegseth. President Trump signing an executive order, like as we speak, to reinstitute the presidential fitness test because America has a real problem.
The order that I'll sign today in a few moments directs the council to develop strategies to improve America's physical fitness and renew the American spirit, excellence, competitiveness, and sportsmanship. To that end, I'm pleased to announce that we're officially restoring the Presidential Fitness Test and the Presidential Fitness Award, and it's going to be a very big thing. This was a wonderful tradition, and we're bringing it back.
In 1980, not a single state had an obesity rate above 20%. Today, not a single state has an obesity rate below 20%. Look, I rail about this all the time. We have become a low-T, overweight, soft version of ourselves, and it all starts with our fitness habits. Did you know that 77% of young Americans are not eligible for military service because they can't pass the basic fitness standards and the basic fitness requirements? And this is after the Biden administration lowered the fitness standards because they had an abysmal recruiting problem at the time. And it all starts with our youth, with good habits. The presidential fitness test was initiated by President Dwight D. Eisenhower, obviously a military general, in 1956 in response to concerns about physical fitness of American youth compared to Europe. Because there was a study commissioned in 1953 that found out that 58% of American children at that time failed a basic fitness test compared to only 8.7% of European children. Now, this study basically showed that we were falling behind our adversaries in fitness post-World War II and into the beginning of the Cold War, which was a problem, but it's not unlike today. This is the hard times create hard men create good times create soft men create hard times. It's that whole cycle. What so many people in society forget today, we have it so good here, they forget that somebody somewhere in a cave, probably barefoot, is training to kill you right now. And the question every single male should ask themselves every single morning should be, if you meet that person, can you kill them first? I have this conversation almost every morning in the gym. Someone walks, oh, you're training pretty hard. What are you training for? It's really interesting in Greenwich, Connecticut. But the answer to that for most Americans is increasingly no, which is a real problem, which is what this president recognizes with this new initiative. It's absolutely a crisis because I don't think this generation honestly could. Could you imagine asking a bunch of 20-year-olds right now to put down the tick-toke and storm the beaches of Normandy? No. And you probably won't be shocked by this. Fitness standards have been dwindling over time, but it really got bad under Barack Obama when he abolished Eisenhower's presidential fitness standard test and replaced it with an assessment called the Fitnessgram that is less about besting your classmates and more about improving individual health. How'd that turn out? Everybody's fat. But don't worry, we all got a trophy for it. This came at the same time Michelle Obama's disgusting vegetable diet in our school, too, that nobody ate. The bottom line is everything is a competition. Every other animal in nature is competing for life. Every single day, you have to compete against others for a job. Our sporting events, which are a competition, consume the most television eyeballs of any other industry. Every other nation in the world is competing against us, whether you like to admit it or not. The globalist push is a social construct to get America to stop competing while everybody else excels. Every great innovation in the history of ever was born and bred in competition, from the Bronze Age to the race to the atomic bomb, space race, rocket technology, speed, data. Everything is a race, and yet Barack Obama's brilliant plan for America and their fitness was to remove competition? Here's the problem. They removed competition because people didn't like getting last place, and they were whining about it. So instead of saying, hey, work harder, be less fat, don't be last place, they said, oh, it's okay, we'll have no standards, and there'll be no last places or any places at all, but everybody will get a trophy for it. And instead of bringing everybody up, we just brought everybody down. This is my problem with Democrats in general. They want to bring everybody down to the same level so no one's offended. Look, I want losers to be offended so they get motivated to get better. I wrestled in high school and then for a year and a half in college, and I learned the most from the matches that I lost. I was a good wrestler. I could go out there, mop the floor with like 95% of the people I competed against, and I learned virtually nothing from those matches. It didn't make me any better. And then I remember, like it was yesterday, okay? And I'm 42, so it was definitely not yesterday. I remember my first match in college. I went out there, a little bit of an ego chip on my shoulder. I got my ass kicked, okay? And at that point, I realized after I crawled to the side of the mat, basically on my last breath, that I had to change my entire mindset, change training tactics, spend an extra 30 hours drilling a single move that failed me in that match because competition bred that mindset. Our kids should be exposed to difficulties and failures and taught to be fit. And you know what? Being fit is contagious. If you are who you surround yourself with, okay? So for instance, like if you have a bunch of fat friends who sit around playing PlayStation, eating Doritos and Hot Pockets, guess what? When you go hang out with them, you're gonna sit around playing PlayStation, eating Doritos and Hot Pockets. But if your friends are active and they're fit, the activities you will do when you get together will also be active. This is the next generation of humans. We are already not replacing population at a high enough rate. Current generations are not having enough babies. Why? Well, one, we talked about this yesterday. The child-rearing generation now can barely afford to buy a home, okay? That's a huge factor. But also, part of this is because we have the lowest fertility rate in the history of mankind. 25-year-olds today have the same testosterone as 70-year-olds did 20 years ago. And you know what the cause of that is? Unfit childhood development years. Here, this is from a recent study. Quote, over 1,000 7 to 15-year-old girls in 1985 were then followed for 25 years to evaluate whether childhood obesity is associated with infertility in women's reproductive aged life. The results demonstrated that childhood obesity before 12 years of age appears to increase the risk of female infertility later in life. And it's even worse for men. This is cause and effect. The solution to our problem is literally right in front of our face. Rhymes with treadmill. And yet an entire political party, the ones who got us here in the first place, are criticizing a very black and white solution to this. It's almost like Donald Trump is getting really good advice from people like, I don't know, RFK, and then acting on it. I mean, hey, let's get kids more fit. I dare some liberal to have a problem with this one. They will.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.